I welcome our first guest, Maium Talukdar, who of course is a counsellor, and he is deeply rooted in community service and is known for always being just a phone call away when people need support. And again, this is in our community itself, and I know there's more people out there who call him every single day just to know what he's doing, what he can do to help, and he's never ever not picked up their call. And of course, he's a familiar face to many and a heart-led leader. And we're so welcome to please welcome him to the show today. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Thank you for inviting me to the Saturday show.
You're very welcome. It's our honour to have you today on this show. And of course, I'll get started with what's led you, or rather inspired you to get involved with your community?
Well, if I go back during late 80s, where I was on the Isle of Dogs, that's where I was brought up.
Yes.
And we faced lots of difficulties in terms of racism, and the BNP was very active during that time. And I was very young, and we suffered a lot. We've experienced a lot of racism, a lot of abuse. Right. And I think during that time, I kind of said to myself, you know, I want to be, because we had good youth workers, good community workers supporting us. And that's the time I said to myself, I want to be a good community worker, a good youth and community worker.
Yes.
And I think that's what inspired me.
Of course. And what did it mean at the time to be a community worker? Because of course, we can get involved with the community in so many different ways. So for you at the time, what did that mean?
Well, at the time, that meant it's like, you know, we hardly had any Bangladeshi youth workers at the time. It was all like white youth workers. They were very good, and you know, there were maybe one or two at the later stage.
Of course.
So it was something that is, you know, at the time we were thinking, God, youth workers, community workers, they're probably someone, you know, really high profile, someone who directly work with the youth, and they do a lot of good work. And you know, to myself, it was something that really high.
Yes.
Someone's really like how powerful, someone who can inspire the generation, the youth, youngsters.
And you do exactly that now. And again, we're so proud to have you sit as a counsellor within this community. And of course, I think what really inspires me is your journey. So obviously at the time, there weren't a lot of Bangladeshi community workers at the time. And how did you find yourself in that sort of position? Because there weren't a lot of people that you could get mentoring from. It was something that you had to eventually climb your way up. So how did you do that?
Well, I got involved. I mean, we had a very difficult time, as I said before.
Yes.
We hardly, you know, we were scared to go to the park. We were scared to go to youth clubs. So we had good youth workers, outreach workers coming to us. And we kind of, you know, they got us engaged. They got us to come to the youth club. They got us to do some youth work, you know, voluntary work, yes, and kind of to bring other Bangladeshi you know, people to, you know, to get involved.
Yes.
And I think at the time it was only one or two people attending the youth clubs because of the tension, because of the racism out there. And I think myself, my brother and other friends, we got involved, and we kind of became volunteer youth workers at a very young age. And that kind of inspired me, that I want to be a youth worker. I want to do something good for the community, and I continued. You know, not just youth, but community as well. So I continue to do that, and I think that's the key.
Of course. And this is, I'm assuming, unpaid.
It was unpaid,
work.
yeah.
So then, when you're at a young age like that, is it something that demotivates you because it's not paid? Like, what motivated you to sort of do that work? Because when you're working for the community, you're spending so many hours doing so much for them. Sometimes the monetary aspect comes in, and a lot of youth ask, should I be doing this?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays the youth, they're very lucky.
Yes.
I think even if you do volunteer work, you get something. You get some kind of expenses. During our time, we didn't get any expense. We hardly got any expense. We probably used to get you know, £1 or £2 for lunch.
Yeah.
So I mean, they used to provide that. So I think that's the difference. And I think the opportunities compared to our time, and if you compare it now, it's just a day and night difference. Mm-hmm. So it's so much you know, opportunities, so much resources out there now compared to our time. So yeah, and I think the youth, the young generation should grab that opportunity.
And what does a typical day look like in your life right now?
Well, it's a very busy day. I
Yes.
mean, I am a councillor. I mean, I'm really proud, and I'm also the deputy mayor.
Yes, I was going to mention that.
And I'm also leading on youth education, youth, and lifelong learning. So it's kind of my experience, what I went through. It kind of reflects my portfolio, and which I enjoy, and I think it's something that. I'm very passionate about that, and I think, I enjoy it. It's a very busy life, and I enjoy it.
And how
every second of it.
And how do you handle the family sort of responsibilities as well as? I mean, you're working for the community, and of course, family is included in
family
that.
is very important, but I am a full-time politician, and I do struggle.
It comes with the job, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a struggle. But I try to give some time, not a lot. I mean, which is unfair, but I try to do. Sort of find some time for the family.
Do you find burnout to be an issue sometimes then? Like, when you've done so much work and you just come back, you're like, oh, I just want to take a little break. Can you do that in your
You can't,
role?
to be honest,
No.
because, normally you would love to do that, but, issue just comes, one after another, and sometimes you can't really take any break. And, even if you're taking a break and something happens, then you have to kind of cooperate, or you have to take a phone call, or you have to go there.
Yeah.
So it's a 24-hour job.
And that being a 24/7 rather, like a job.
Of course.
If it's something that you need to find to motivate you. You need to find something to motivate you. So what's that something that motivates you, or rather is your favorite part of your job?
Yeah, the motivation comes from satisfaction from the people.
Yes.
Because don't forget, at the end of the day, the people trusted you.
Yes.
They voted for you.
Yes.
Whatever party or whatever you represent, they trusted you. So it's about satisfaction. It's about people saying, like, at least he tried, or at least he's doing something good for the community. I think, and I get that a lot. I think, and I really, I really feel that I need to do more. I can't say I'm doing enough. As a politician, you should never say you've done enough. You should always say you need to do more.
Yes.
And I believe I should do more, and we will do more.
No, and inshallah
That's the way
we'll
I
have
see it.
more people like yourself
Yeah.
doing more and more, because I know the community around us now needs more, and we are so proud to have you,
Thank you.
of course,
Thank
working for us. And other than that, can you share a moment where, it stayed with you for the past few years and you're just like, that's why you do the job that you do?
Yeah,
I'm sure there's so many of these moments.
there's so many moments, but one moment I still remember is I think it was beginning of 1990s. So it was very bad situation on the Isle of Dogs. We had Derek Beacom was elected as first British National Party councillor. There was so much tension. There was so much happening within the community, and I still remember we went to a camping trip, and there was so much tension amongst us as well as youngsters.
Yes.
As we had tension. We had fights. There was so much. It kind of the tension outside within the adults also reflected within us.
Yeah.
The children or young boys. I would say, and then we went to a trip. And it was organised by the youth workers, and I think the purpose of that was to kind of mix everyone together, to get to know and kind of forget about what is happening outside and focus on, everyone working together, everyone being a friend. And I still remember that. Coming out of that trip, it was a weekend trip. We went there Friday, came back Sunday. And I think we kind of, there were a lot of barriers before we went to that trip. There was a lot of tension, a lot of issues, and coming out of it, I think we broke that barrier. We became friends. We became like good mates. We used to talk to each other. It's the whole group, not just me.
No, of course.
And it helped a lot. And so before, when we go to park, we hardly had anyone. There was so much problem, and these boys, they used to attack us.
Oh,
so
wow.
after coming back from that camping or that trip,
Yes.
we used to play together. We used to play football at St.
had
John's
your group,
Park.
yeah.
So I still remember that, and I think this is something, an experience. I always share with people. If the situation is very worse, if you work together, if you kind of put the effort in,
You can bring
it makes
about
a difference.
harmony.
Yeah, you can
bring
make the
about
changes.
harmony, of course. And to what extent has heritage shaped your career?
Oh, heritage has. I mean, I'm a proud, I'm proud to say I'm Bangladeshi.
Yes.
I do visit Bangladesh. I try to visit once a year, and I'm well connected with my family, relatives, everyone. I do communicate. I try to do charity work there as well. So I think heritage is so important. I try to teach my children that as well. I find it a bit difficult because I speak fluent Bengali.
Yes.
I talk to my parents in Bengali, and my children, I mean, I'm losing the grip.
It is difficult.
I'm losing the grip now.
Difficult,
Before, it was okay, they used to talk Bengali, but now they kind of...
Give yourself some credit. It is difficult. I think when
Yeah.
you live in a community where most people are English speaking, it's very natural for children to
Yeah.
speak English or whatever language it is that they're around. And it is up to our
Yeah.
parents, of course, to try and
course.
bring that into our...
I mean, I'm grateful to my parents. I mean, I done Bengali GCSE, and I done really, really well. I can read Bengali, I can write Bengali,
Amazing.
and I'm really grateful to my parents. And I think I've tried that, but obviously, for me, I think, long as they can understand the heritage, long as they can speak Bengali,
Yeah, the values, they can
and the
understand it,
values,
yeah.
that's I think that should be enough.
Yeah, it is
for
quite
now.
important. I think a lot
Yeah.
of, at least my parents fear that the culture might go away soon.
Yeah.
So it's really important, guys, to keep the culture
It
within
is.
us.
It's
yeah.
very important to hold on to
Hold
the
on to it.
heritage. Otherwise, yeah, some people do say that we're going to lose it. But I think we need to work together, and and it's important that when we have cultural events, when
Yeah.
we have various
Yes.
celebration, we should go.
We should get together, yes.
We should get together. We should take our children, and we should teach them. I mean, every time I go to events like Ekoshi February and so on,
Yeah, Pohela Boishak.
yeah, I always tell the audience, I can't see any young people there. And I think we really need to do something for the young generation, educate them, so that it becomes a habit. Every year they look forward to these kind of events. It means a lot. So, yeah, I think that's
And
something.
inshallah, there will be more youngsters, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing you could tell your young self, a message that you tell yourself, or maybe tell yourself to do differently, what would that be?
Well, I mean, something different. The only message I would say to the youngsters, never give up. Never give up. No matter how difficult the situation is, keep on working, keep on pushing yourself. I mean, the minute you fall, the minute you give up, that's it. So you shouldn't fall. Even if you do fall, get up.
Get up.
And keep going.
Be resilient.
Yeah.
And what's
it.
something you would tell yourself if you were, let's say, 80 years old again? What's something different?
If I was 8 years old,
I say 8, it could be 10, it could
10,
be
12,
11, 12, whatever
I
age
would
it
work
is.
hard in terms of my education. I would give more effort onto my education.
I would do
Because
the same.
I've given 100% into community,
Yes.
into my community,
for other
the
people.
local stuff I did. I mean, if I was the same age again, I would turn it around and give my education a bit more.
Perfect. No, thank you so much for being on the show today.